Hello, ladies. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dusty Jar Talks. It has been a few months since my last episode because I am involved in moving, and that is a lot of work. But today's episode, we have a little bit of a question, and that question is, which Bible translation or version should I use? With that in mind, the scripture I want us to consider is 2 Timothy 3:16, and it states, "All scripture is God-breathed and is useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness." So we want to take the Bible version we use, or the Bible versions we use, seriously. It's actually really important. I do want to keep this talk brief because I am no expert. However, I've linked a few videos below, and if you're interested in the topic of which Bibles are good to use and which Bibles maybe aren't so good to use, please check out those videos. But first, let me tell you a little story about what the overzealous allegiance to a Bible translation can do to a weak Christian. In this story, I am the weak Christian. When I was in my early 30s, around 31 to 32, I experienced what is known as King James onlyism. King James onlyism is when a person or congregation says that the King James Version is the only true and sound Bible. If you use something else, especially a modern translation, you are on the fast track to apostasy. In other words, you're going to hell. King James onlyism is not reading the King James Version exclusively because you love it and you understand it and you trust it. That's not King James onlyism. The onlyism comes in when you try to bind your belief on others. The King James Version is a very good translation, and I use it constantly. I love it. Okay, back to my story. I nearly fell away when King James onlyism was leveled against me and my New International Version. I nearly fell away because I allowed Christians, mostly well-meaning Christians, to shake my faith and cause me to judge Jesus based on the unkindness and even ignorance of some people, and these were Christian people. And please forgive me when I have been that unkind and ignorant Christian, because I know I have been that Christian. I've been that Christian too many times. Okay, back to my story. Eventually, I did decide to switch from my beloved NIV, and I would have believed it would have been the 1984 edition, not the 1978 edition, and this switch was a very difficult 2-year process. I sat at the dinner table with my huge Webster dictionary at my left hand and my beloved NIV at my right hand. It was a Thompson chained reference edition. And in the middle, I had my recently purchased King James Version. I would read from the King James Version. I would have to look up at least half of the words in the dictionary, and then I would read from my NIV. This was about a 2-year process. And this was before everyone had smartphones and a good Bible application, so this was all a paper and pencil process of looking up from one book to the next. But I was dedicated. I believed those other Christians must know more than me, and I sure didn't want to be on the fast track to hell. I did start seeing some differences between the KJV and the NIV. But I didn't realize I was seeing the differences between a word-for-word translation, such as the King James Version, and a thought-for-thought translation, such as the NIV. Instead of me understanding this and seeing the value of both translation philosophies, again, there wasn't YouTube. I couldn't consult other people, not very readily at all. I decided to become a King James onlyist. I did that for several years. Over the years, I have learned better, and that is the purpose of this talk. There are translations that are definitely better than others, but we English-speaking people are so blessed. Please watch the attached videos. I'm cutting my portion of this video short because I hope you will watch all the videos I've linked below. Currently, I've linked just 3 videos. If I find others I particularly like, I will add them. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Please keep reading and studying the Bible for yourself, and I hope to see you next time on Dusty Jar Talks.